Former 2016 GOP presidential candidate, former governor Mike Huckabee, Fox News contributor Pat Caddell. Governor, as I talk to you, I'm going to put up just the WikiLeaks revelation specific to the Clinton server up, and then we'll go to the new revelations today. This is obvious law-breaking. I'd use the word bribery, cover-up, destruction of, materials. It actually seems to now make sense that they had the private server because they didn't want Freedom of Information Act request or congressional oversight because of all the money they're making.
Well, it was a very good way for them to cover up their tracks. I've said this week that the big difference between the Clintons and the Sopranos were that the Sopranos didn't leave an email trail, and the Clintons didn't think they were going to either. But the fact is, the WikiLeaks exposure has revealed what really amounts, Sean, to nothing less than a criminal enterprise. And the shocking thing is, people are going to vote for someone on Tuesday who is either a person who believes that the job of president is serving the public or sucking the life out of the public. This is why Hillary Clinton cannot be president, because they have used every government agency and all the powers to do two things: protect themselves from being accountable to the laws that the rest of us have to live by, and then to use those powers for self-enrichment and for going after their political enemies. Imagine, if you will, Hillary Clinton having the power of the IRS and all these agencies.
They were making enough money. It's inexplicable to me. Why? Did they need that much more money?
Well, Sean, you got to remember who they're hanging out with. They're hanging around with the George Soroses. They're hanging around with all the billionaires who have so much money that they'd like to be part of that. And, to make $153 million as they did on speeches between 2001 and 2015, that's a pretty good gig. Bill Clinton gets $100,000 just to have a meeting with somebody.
Is it worth let me bring Pat in here.
Yep.
If she's elected, you were just telling me before we came on the air, this is a disaster for this country.
Well, I think the problem is I went through Watergate. I was the youngest person on Richard Nixon's enemies list. I think I may be the oldest on Hillary's at the moment. But leaving that aside, I think that, what we learned is that presidency was consumed when Watergate exploded. This has already exploded. We're talking about someone, and I think American people, if they think about it, will have a huge impact, because if the day she's elected, this crisis starts. It will not go away. It's not going away unless she pardons herself, or the president, if Obama pardons her, which would blow the country wide open.
So we will be more divided than ever before.
We will be more, and nothing will happen.
Will be paralyzed.
And nothing will happen. The country in a moment of crisis. So that's really the choice. This will all be about her and the Clintons. And what I agree with the governor. I mean, my God, what you're seeing here is a criminal enterprise, really. And we all know the foundation was always much worse. And it is about money, and it's about many things. But you know what, most of all, the country is tired of corruption. And the word that is not allowed to be spoken inside the Beltway and by the political elites is corruption. In the country, you've got over 80-some% of people who believe that they're corrupt.
Exit question for both of you. I'll start with you, Pat. Who's going to win this election?
I think at the moment, let me just say, we're in motion, and I think it's moving Trump's way. I lived through 1980.
You think it's the same?
And I think it could be
Governor, who's going to win?
Donald Trump is going to win. It's not going to be as close as people think, and I've said that since the summer when his poll numbers were low.
We got to take a break
today.
Thank you both. We'll continue.